Hey, yeah, let's cover lesson 25, operations with decimals. To add decimal numbers, you need to place the numbers to be added in vertical format, aligning the decimal points. Okay. Add trailing zeros. As needed, so the numbers are the same length. Add the numbers as if they were whole numbers. And then you're going to place the decimal point in the answer in the same column as the decimal points above it. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this as though there are no calculators because I'm still undecided what I'm doing yet. For this part, I would typically have you do this without a calculator because I need you to show me exactly what you're doing. So to do this, you're going to go 3.125. So do this as though you do not have a calculator. All right. 4.814. Notice they are all aligned up and my decimals are aligned up as well. When you add these, because we're adding them, you always add from right to left. 5 plus 4 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. 1 plus 8 is 9. Got our decimal here. And then 3 plus 4 is 7. And there's our answer. Add 2.864. So you pause the video and do this one yourself. I'm just lining mine up right now. 029. And then again, I want you to go through and add this and then come back and check to make sure if you did it correctly. All right, 4 plus 9 is 13. There's 1. I'm carrying my 3. I'm carrying my 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. 8 plus 0 is 8. Bring my decimal down. 2 plus 3 is 5. All right. Jane has $4.35 in her purse. Jim has $5.62 in his wallet. If they sum their money, what is the total? You've got to remember that sum in math is addition, right? So that's 4.35. Again, after I set this up, please do the addition yourself. 5.62, just to make sure you're coming back without a calculator and able to do it. 5 plus 2 is 7. 3 plus 6 is 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. So our answer has to be in sentence form because this is a word problem. And we have to have correct units, which is going to be a $sign. So if they sum their money together, what is their total? The total is $9.97. Something very important that you should know about this is when you are representing money in an answer, you always have to go to the hundredths place, so where the penny is our smallest coin. So you have to represent a number in that space. There is no rounding. Your rounding is always to the hundredths place for American money. All right. That's going to be very big once we get into a little bit further down this class and very important for our next class. Now we're going to add 7.5 and 12.23. So pause the video, do this one and the next one yourself, then come back to make sure that you were able to do this. All right. And then 12, I have to line up my decimals, 2, 3. And we're adding. So I can just put a 0 here so that we know that 0 plus 3 is 3. 5 plus 2 is 7, decimal. 7 plus 2 is 9. And then there's a 1. Find the sum. 12.2, 8.352, 2.44. Just going to put zeros in these other places. And we are adding 2, 9, 9. 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 2 is 22. I should 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Carry the 1. There we go. And then I was thinking of it differently. All right, so there is my answer for that one. Place the numbers to be subtracted. Oh, we're down to subtracting decimal numbers. Place the numbers to be subtracted in vertical format, just like we did this, aligning the decimal point. Okay, we're going to add trailing zeros. I'm going to have to definitely do this. We didn't have to do it for the addition, but for the subtraction, we have to add the trailing zeros. As needed, so the decimals are the same length. All right, pardon me. Subtract the numbers as if they were whole numbers. And then place the decimal point in the answer in the same column. You're not going to move it in the same column as the decimal points above it. All right, so let's do the next one. We've got subtract 12.23 from 33.57. So we're not putting in 12.23 minus 33.57. It would be like subtracting 1 from 2. When you subtract 1 from 2, you go 2 minus 1. So here we're subtracting 12.23 from 33.57. We're subtracting 12.23. Right? We always subtract from right to left. 7 minus 3 is 4. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. I always actually just do the decimal as I'm going from right to left. So there's my answer for that one. Subtract 58.76 minus 38.95. So this one's already set up for us. So 58.76 minus 38.95. So I'm going to do this one, and then I want you to go through and do as many as you can until you feel like you get stuck, and then come back and see how you're doing them. All right. 6 minus 5 is 1. 7 minus 9. Well, we can't take 9 from 7, so we have to borrow. I have to come over here and borrow from this 8. The 8 will be left with 7, and this will be 17. 17 minus 9 is 8. I always bring my decimal down. 7 minus 8. I can't take 8 from 7, so I have to borrow from the 5. When I borrow from 5, I'm left with 4, and this becomes 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1. So 19.81 is my answer. Okay, pause. Do the rest of these yourself. With this one, I will help you set it up, and then I want you to completely do this yourself. 13.3 minus 8.572. We have nothing above here to borrow, so I need to put zeros there. You're going to probably want to watch this one too. So I can't borrow from the 0 because there's nothing there. I have to go all the way over here to this 3 and borrow from it. When I borrow from 3, I leave it with a 2, and this becomes a 10. All right. But I need a number over here that I can subtract 2 from, because it can't pull 2 from 0. So I have to borrow from this 10 and make it a 9, and then this will become a 10. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 7 is 2. 2 minus, I can't subtract 5 from 2. Now I need to go over and borrow from 3. It becomes a 2, and this 2 becomes a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Yeah. Bring down my decimal. 2 minus 8. I can't subtract 8 from 2. I have to borrow from this 1 and make this a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. So my answer is 4.728. All right, let's set this up and see what it looks like. 3.2 less than a negative becomes a negative. And this is 18.95. I'm going to put my 0 in there. When the signs are the same, we add and keep the sign. So my answer is going to be a negative. And we're just adding these because the signs are the same. So 5, 2, and 9 is 11. Carry the 1. I'll bring my decimal down. 8 and 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 1 is 12. Carry my 1. 1 and 1 is 2. So 22, negative 22.15 is my answer for that one. Negative 3 plus 2.24. When the signs are different, you subtract and take the sign of the larger number. When we subtract these, I need to have some numbers up here for this. And the larger number is 3, so I'm going to just go ahead and put my negative down. I can't borrow from 0, so I'm going to come over to this 3 and borrow, and it leaves me with a 2. This becomes a 10. So I need to borrow from that 10, make it a 9, and then this becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So my answer is negative 0.76. All right, I'm going to rewrite this real quick. Negative 8.567. Negative and a negative becomes a positive 12.3. So now I'm going to rewrite this. Negative 8.567 plus 12.3. I'm going to add my zeros in there. The signs are different. We're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So this answer is going to be positive. Oh. How are we going to do this? I can't do it this way. I can't. Interesting. You can't subtract this way. You can't subtract 12 from 8. I would have to flip this, which you can do. I mean, you can totally do that, but I would have to do that. So I'm going to make this 12.3. I'm going to put my zeros in and 8.567. It means the same thing because I didn't change my signs. So I kept the signs as they were. But now I can do this. I would have to subtract from 3, make it a 2. This becomes a 10. Subtract from 10, make this a 9, make this a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 6 is 3. 2 minus 5 I cannot do, so I need to borrow from the 2, make this a 1, make this a 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 point. 8 from 1 we can't do. So this becomes 0. This becomes an 11. 11 minus 8 is a 3. So 3.733, and it is positive. All right. Negative 11.2 minus negative 8.45 plus 2.7. Well, the first thing we have to do are these two numbers, all right? And that's negative 8.45 plus 2.7. So what if I told you at this point, no, I'm not, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you use your calculator on the test, but you're still going to have to show me the work. You're going to have to show me at certain ones, not everything. You're going to have to show me your work on certain ones. When you get to something like this, I do not expect you to sit here and do all that we just did. I do expect you to do this if it's just two numbers, something simple. But when I start giving you some stuff like this, that's where we're going to whip out the calculators and make sure that you can use them to get this right information. When you do this, we're still going to stick with the order of operations, okay? And that means we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. With our calculators, we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So sorry, I'm going to need to grab some water here. So I'm going to go negative 8.45 plus 2.7. And I get negative 5.75. All right. A negative and a negative is a positive. So now we have a negative 11.2 plus 5.75. So now we're going to take our calculators and go negative 11.2 plus 5.75. And that is equal to negative 5.45. And that's your answer. All right, next one. Pardon me. Negative 12.3 minus, all right, absolute value just means the difference from the distance to 0. And so anything that happens, okay, first we have to do what's inside the absolute value first, and then we'll discuss how to handle the absolute value. So right now, the absolute value stays as it is. I'm only going to deal with what's in the inside of here. So I've got negative 4.6. A negative and a negative becomes a positive. So plus 2.84. Now I'm going to whip out my calculator and go negative 4.6 plus 2.84. And that's negative 1.76. Still inside the absolute value. Okay. To get rid of that absolute value, whatever's on the inside, and it has to just be one number, whatever's on the inside, in order to pull it outside of that absolute value, that number, whether it's positive or negative, has to be positive. So this is going to be 12.3 minus, and now to pull this out, it's going to be positive 1.76. Now the absolute value is gone. Okay. If this was a positive, it'd still be positive. Anything that comes out of this absolute value has to be positive. All right, now I can go ahead and change my sign. Negative 12.3, negative and a positive is negative 1.76. Whip out your calculator. Negative 12.3 minus 1.76, and it's negative 14.06. All right, that's your answer for that one. Multiply 0.7 times 0.08 as fractions. What do you notice about the answer? So if we're going to do that, that's 7/10 times 8 over 100. And that's equal to 7 times 8 is 56 over 1,000. All right. Well, that means that 0.7 times 0.08 is 0.056. Okay. Kind of cool. All right. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. What's next? Next victim. Multiplying decimal numbers. We're going to ignore the decimal point. All right, in the factors, and multiply the two factors as if they are whole numbers. You're going to count the number of digits to the right of the decimal point in each factor. You're going to sum these two numbers. That means add them. And then you're going to place the decimal point in the product so that the number of digits to the right of the decimal point equals the sum found in step 2. Oh my gosh, that's so confusing right off the bat. Let me show you. I will show you exactly what this means, and let's see if we can follow through. I do not need to line up my decimals for 2.34 times 1.2. I just need to say 2, 34, and 12. I just need to multiply those two numbers. All right. We've got two decimals here. We've got one decimal here, but we don't have to have them written in this. If you learned that, which I did learn not to remove those. We're going to just treat this as though they're whole numbers though. Okay, so multiplying 4 times 2 is 8, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. You can put a place value here to save it. 4 times 1 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. Then now's the summing part. We're summing these two numbers, so we're adding the two numbers, 8, 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2. And then last is to place the decimal point in the product, which is the multiplication, so that the numbers to the right of the decimal point equals the sum found in step 2, which there are 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, place my decimal, and that's my answer. Okay. Simplify. So we're just going to multiply 8.235 times 2.3. Again, make sure you can do these simple ones without your calculator, other than to check yourself. Don't use it to actually do this. So pause your video and attempt this one, then come back and make sure you're doing well. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And then 8 times 3 is 24. Place value marker. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 times 2 is 4. 8 times 2 is 16. All right, then we add these. 5, 0, 14. Carry the 1, 8, 9. 8 and 1. We count the number of decimal places. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Place my decimal, and I am done. Okay. All right. Next one, negative 2.22 times negative 1.23. Negative times the negative is positive, so I'm just going to get rid of that and just deal with the 2.22 times 1.23. All right. 2 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, leave a place value. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. This is fine. Leave 2 place values. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Add all these up. 6, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13. Carry the 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. How many place values? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Place my decimal and booyah. Let me know what questions you have. For the next one, let's go ahead and just use our calculator. So 5.68 times negative 0.012. And that is, and you write the whole thing down, negative 0.068. Nope, just, yeah, 0.68. Said it twice. 1/6. Do not round that unless I specifically ask you to. All right, let's go to the next. If A equals 3.1 and B equals negative 2.4, we need to evaluate A squared minus 3.2 times B squared. So where the A is, I'm going to square it, minus 3.2 times where the B is, I'm going to square that. 3.1 is my A, negative 2.4 is my B. 3.1 squared. To square it, you're going to have a caret right here, or you should have something similar to it. 2 equals, and that's 9.61. I'm doing my order of operations. So now I have to square my negative 2.4. And actually that should be a positive. The reason that came out a negative is because I didn't put it in parentheses. So parentheses, negative 2.4, and then I'm going to square it. Now it's right, 5.76. If you are squaring a number that's negative, it has to be positive. Even if it's positive, it's going to be positive. So now we need to multiply these two. Give me a negative 3.2 times 5.76, 18.432. And now we're going to just subtract those. 9.61 minus 18.432. I expect to see all these steps. I do not want just an answer. I've had people giving me that, and that's just not working. 8.22, because you're not helping yourself. You're losing points. You lose all your points if you just give me the answer and it's wrong. At least this way I can see where the mistake is and just give you partial credit. I'm all over partial credit. But then again, it's easier if you just get one wrong and, just give me the answer, get it wrong, and all I have to do is give no credit. Those are easy to create. All right, so simplify 10 squared, 10 cubed, 10 to the 4th, and 10 to the 9th. Well, 10 is just 10. 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100. 10 cubed is 1,000. 10 to the 4th is 10,000. 1, 2, 4. And 10 to the 9th is going to have 9 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is hundreds, millions. So that's 1 billion. All right. Multiplying a decimal number by 10 to whatever n digit exponent will move the decimal point in places, whatever that exponent is, to the right, like it just did with those up there. Okay, so if it was 4, it's 4 places to the right. If it's 9, it's 9 places to the right. Okay. This is a tough one, y'all. It's a long one. All right, thank goodness for calculators. Simplify. We're going to whip out our calculators. Or we don't even have to for this one. We can just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's times 10 to the 4th. So that means where the decimal is currently at in between the 1 and the 2, I need to move it over to the right 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It needs to go right behind 5. And there is my answer. Do the same thing over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's currently right behind the 1, so I need to move it 2 places. And it'll end up behind the 3. Okay. Circles. A circle is a collection of all points the same distance, equidistance from a given point. And that's going to be called the center of the circle. The segment joining any point on the circle to the center is called the radius. Okay. If 2 points on a circle are connected with a line segment, then the segment is called a chord. I'll show you what that is. So if we've got a circle, we've got a center, we've got a radius is from the center to any point on the circle. We've got a chord that can go from any point on the circle directly across to another point of the circle. And this is called a chord. And then there's one more thing to talk about, and that is the diameter. The diameter, and I'm going to draw a separate, how can I do this? I'll do it right here. I'll do it from here to here, from here to here. This whole thing is called the diameter. Sorry, I wrote it kind of weird, but that's the whole from one point through the center to another point on the other side. It's called the diameter. The radius is half of that. All right. So then the chord is called the diameter. So the diameter is a chord as well, because it goes from one point on the circle, and instead of just to another point, it actually goes through the center to another point on the circle. All right. What is the relationship? It says draw a chord that is not the diameter, which is this one, of the circle below. What is the relationship between the diameter and the radius? Well, the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. This is the formula you're going to need. All right. The diameter is that. The radius is the diameter divided by 2. So it's R equals D divided by 2, or 1/2 D. Okay. All right. The length of a circle is called its circumference. And what that is from one point on the circle all the way around the edge back to that same point. It would be like the perimeter of a square or rectangle. It's called the circumference for a circle. The variable c denotes the circumference. Whenever the circle's circumference is divided by its diameter, the quotient, or the dividing, is a constant pi. All right. To find the circumference of a circle with a radius r and diameter d, use one of the following formulas. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r, to where r is your radius. That's if you have your radius. Or you could use c is equal to pi times the diameter. And that's if you're given the diameter. All right. Some of the digits of pi, you're not going to be able to name them all because it's forever infinite number. 3.1415926535789, and then it keeps going. I can actually pull this up on my calculator, and where's my pi on here? Right there. Pi, enter, and it only goes up to 4. But it actually keeps going. So when you do problems for me in this class, you're going to use your pi symbol on your calculator. A lot of you will have it over here to the left on your TI-32X2S's. But for those of you, if you're using a graphing calculator, your calculator going to have to use second and then the caret key to get to it. If you need help finding it on your calculator, you can always ask Google just by putting in the model number. If you can't find it, sometimes it's really small on your calculator. Find the circumference of a circle given its radius is 12 feet. I've got a circle with a radius of 12 feet. They're giving me the radius. I'm going to use this for my circumference. Circumference is 2 times pi times r. So I'm going to go 2 times pi times the 12 feet for my radius with my calculator. 2 times pi times 12 equals. All right, that is not an exact number. That's an approximate number. To find an exact number, all I have to go is 2 times 12, and I get 24 pi. This is the exact answer. Okay. The other one is going to be a rounded answer, and so it's going to be approximate. So the other answer that we got with the calculator is 75.39. Oh, let's see if I can see if I'm right. 75.398. Let's just go with that. 98. And this is approximate, and this is feet. And this one is approximate. It's not exact. So be careful. If I ask you for the exact answer, it would have to be left in pi. If I ask for the approximate answer, it's going to have to be with a decimal. Okay. For mom, if you're going to be doing your homework on mom, make sure that you're paying attention to whether or not they're wanting you to use the pi symbol or 3.14, because that's another option. It's either going to be 3.14 or the pi symbol. Okay, just pay attention to what they're asking for. Let's do the area of a circle next. All right, just did the circumference. Now we're going to do the area. Oh my goodness, this is wicked. All right. Area of a circle with radius r is given by, here's the formula, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. All right. On the area of a circle having a diameter of 12.5 meters, use 3.14 for pi and round the answer for the area to the nearest tenth of a square meter. Okay, so the diameter is 12.5 meters. The radius is half that. So 12.5 divided by 2, use your calculator. 12.5 divided by 2 is 6.25. Now we can use our area formula because we needed the radius. Area is equal to pi times the radius, 6.25 squared. All right, so we need to do 6.25 squared. And that's 39. So pi times 39.0625. All right, the last piece of this is just to multiply times pi times pi equals, and that's 122 point, and we'll just round to the hundredths. I'm to the 10th place, 0.7. Now our units were meters, so the area is always measured in squares. I've explained that before. 0.7 meters squared. All right. Next piece, dividing decimals. We are not going to go through the mechanics of dividing decimals by hand. The steps, should you be curious, are explained here. I'm not going to read it to you. What we're going to do is just whip out our calculators. All right, 42.55 divided by 23, and that's 1.85. Pause the video and go through and do the other, at least the other two yourself, and then come back and check. All right, negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. So I'm just going to ignore the signs. I do in my dating world. And 36.99 divided by 0.45 is 82.2. And it's already positive. Next one is negative divided by positive. So my answer is going to be a negative. And I don't have to deal with putting it in my calculator and messing things up. 0.03 divided by 0.024. And that is 1.25. Negative 1.25. All right, convert 4/7 to a decimal. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. To convert a fraction to a decimal, you just divide it. 4 divided by 7. 4 divided by 7 equals. And we're going to round to the nearest hundredths. So 0.5714. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So the rounding digit is 7. The test digit is 1. Because the 1 is less than 5, it's going to stop here and it's going to stay the same, 0.57. About. All right. Dividing a decimal number by 10 to the nth will move the decimal point in places to the left. Earlier, it would have moved it to the right, but because it's a decimal, it's going to make it smaller and move it to the left. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.7, and we're dividing it by 4. So our decimal place is going to move to the left 4 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Our answer is 12.345667. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're dividing by 2. So our decimal place moves over twice, and now it's between the 4 and the 5. Given A is 2.1, B is negative 3.4, C is negative 1.3, and D is 1.1, evaluate the following. So I need a space for A and B divided by C plus D. All right, 2.1 times negative 3.4, negative 1.3 plus 1.1. All right. These two are going to get multiplied first, and it's going to be a negative 2.1 and 3.4. 7.14. All right, negative 1.3 plus 1.1 is negative 0.2. All right, negative divided by negative is a positive, so that's gone. And we've got 7.14 divided by 0.2. And that's 35.7. All righty. Last one. Given that A is 0.1, B is negative 0.3, evaluate the expression. So we have A plus 2 times B divided by 2 times A plus B. Just leave my spaces. 0.1 and then 0.1. B is negative 0.3 and negative 0.3. I have to multiply these two first in the numerator. Multiplication before addition. So it's going to be 0.1 minus 2 times 0.3 is 0.6. 2 times 0.1 is 0.2. Plus, and positive and negative is a negative 0.3. All right, my numerator is 0.1 minus 0.6, which is negative 0.5. Same thing for the bottom, 0.2 minus 0.3 is negative 0.1. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And then 0.5 divided by 0.1 is 5. I expect to see those steps. That's what I'm looking for the exam. I do not want you to just give me the answer 5. I need you to show me that you will understand the order of operations, especially before coming to the final and especially before getting to my next class. All right, that's it for 20. I don't know what this was. 25. I'm going to hit up 26 next and get y'all set up. Thanks so much. Let me know what questions you have.